Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Rahil Morjawali and I am a student of Rehan School Kuringi campus. I am from Karachi, Pakistan. Today we have a distinguished guest with us, someone whose achievement in the world of finance have left an indelible mark. His name is Dr. Ron, and we are truly honored to have him here with us today. So before we dive into the fascinating world of finance innovation, let's start to getting know Dr. Ron on more personal level. Dr. Ron, very please introduce yourself for my viewer. First of all, how are you, sir?
Very well. First of all, thank you for setting this up and reaching out. And I'm very glad to be able to um, understand that you're part of a very distinguished school and at Rihanna School, and I'm very supportive of the young entrepreneurs and want to thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure, sir. So, first of all, please introduce yourself for my viewers before moving on questions.
Sure. I'm Ron Devari. I'm the founder of NewOak Capital and NewOak Finance. And I had a journey of both in academics, engineering, financial engineering, and then I went into become an entrepreneur and tried to build a vision that I've set up for over 50 years to get here.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your introduction. Now, let's move on to questions. My first question is on your screen. Can you tell us about New Art Finance and how the idea come about?
Excellent. Thank you for asking that question because, as I mentioned, New York Finance was an idea that was the culmination of many, many, many years of journeys across several um, um, career paths, which were highly connected. When I was at BlackRock building what is referred to as the foundation of structured finance, we were a strong believer on what is referred to as the see-through, meaning that the structured products are generally a package of essentially either a consumer debt or a corporate debt or a asset backed, whether it's real estate, whether it's an operating company, whether it's an auto vehicle. Uh, that's actually the vehicle that most banks had used to finance the growth in many developing countries. Unfortunately, that tool is not necessarily accessible to many emerging economies because that requires a very sophisticated infrastructure from origination to underwriting to packaging to packaging means structuring that, putting it in a vehicle, and then that making that available either as a rated instrument or an unrated instrument to institutional investors. That rail was started to be built out in the United States and then started globally um, advance, culminating to ultimately what happened in 2008 in the credit crisis, where some of these vehicles and the investors that invested in these vehicles were not fully equipped to understand the underlying risks. It's like, buying a box of food at a place, not knowing what's in it, and then getting sick because that box may have been sitting around for a while and it may have been a spoil. Despite that, maybe the initial ingredients were um, were okay, or at least to some extent met certain standards. It's no different than that. Essentially, packaging securities and instruments that requires that. Uh, we noticed that this complicated infrastructure to be able to make those um, transactions, as transactions being whether the consumer is able to borrow money to buy necessary goods, or SME, small medium enterprise, be able to 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 get that financing. That point of transaction financing was not necessarily accessible to a huge portion of the world, be it be it in it's only was available to countries with very sophisticated banking, and to a layer of population that was already fully banked. So if you went into the layer that was not banked or underbanked, those folks had to revert to uh, other mechanism, including reaching relatives, reaching the bosses, reaching payday loan lenders, and the like. So that, we believe, was one of the biggest uh, impediment to the global growth that we are facing. So we call that financial wellness. Financial wellness should be a right for all layers of society, to the extent that they can afford it. So with that in mind, we created NewOak Finance to um, to be able to serve customers, employees, and suppliers. That covers almost everybody. Well, when I say suppliers, I also mean farmers. I also mean, the supply chain that ultimately leads to products and services that we all consume, and that is really the full range. Uh, but that also include, financing, for example, for education, because that's a service. Those a few, we are seeing that is definitely becoming a common need now and even in developing countries, where the access to online uh, tutorial and online education is becoming available at a certain price, and we think that that should ultimately be equalized through accessible financing. So New Finance, again, if you don't mind sharing the screen that I have provided with you at this point.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sir.
Can you page forward, please? Okay. Um, I don't mean to make this a conversation a presentation per se, but the idea of Newark Finance came to us after many, many years of having seen the deficiencies in uh, the structured and specifically rated structured products globally, where the information gap between when the credit was or originated and when people wanted to look at that vehicle as an investment, the gap was very large, and sometimes the information was not really usable, but and the financing was not reaching to the layers that we thought need to be done. So New York Finance was created to serve businesses by financing customers, employees, and suppliers, as I highlighted. We envisioned first attacking two consumer-based sectors. One was uh, earned wage access. What is an earned wage access? We'll discuss that a little bit later. But this is essentially a liquidity facility to employees to be able to access their salaries without borrowing, meaning that as they're earning it, they're able to use it between the paydays. Then mm, uh, the so that's really connecting uh, us as a point of contact between the employer and employee, and bridging that gap, and providing the necessary facilities, and arranging it so that that is becoming available to employees. And that's the Orbispay, and the website is orbispay.me. Uh, and then the second concept that we simultaneously were working on is what I refer to as um, a revolving credit provided through uh, the, the merchants websites. So e-commerce, which is the internet-based or app-based finance or commerce, was becoming very much available, but the the associated financing was still using the old technology of your credit cards or debit cards, which are a banking product that is not on an instant basis, or they have to be prearranged. With that in mind, we created a digital revolving credit where the merchant will be able to connect with us, and we eliminate what I consider the intermediaries, including the interchange, which is Visa and Mastercard, which is nothing but a way to build a trust between the merchant and the credit provider, and then make that as a revolving credit so that it will be more affordable by the or less subject to default by the consumer. So it's more of a uh, ongoing relationship as a one-time loan to the customer. In order to do that, we ended up with having to build. There were a lot of commonalities in the ecosystem. Ecosystem is the infrastructure, which was essentially point of transaction data, and then validating point of that transaction data, and then ultimately make that available both for underwriting and making that available for making decisions. And then once that transaction is completed, the related financing need to be financed by a vehicle that facilitates that, and that's Finplus.tech provides all the parties the the trust required to achieve that. So that's pretty much um, um, uh, the idea of NewOak Finance, to conceive, grow, and integrate innovative business to business to consumer or business to business tech powered financing, and build out enabling technologies and make that globally deployable, in a nutshell.
Uh, all right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your explaining answer. That's wonderful answer. You are doing very, very great. Thank you so much, sir. So now let's move on to next question. My next question is for you. What is B2B to C and B2B to B fintech ecosystem?
Excellent. Thank you. This is a chart that hopefully explain the what we just said. So as you see on the left side, there are employers, there are merchants, there are end manufacturers, there are suppliers, and then there are maybe growers and traders and alike, and distributors. On the left, on the right side, you will see employees, you see consumers, you see suppliers that receive those supplies, also, and growers that need the necessary finance. So the B2B means business to business. Now, with the end connectivity ends up being a consumer, like yourself going and buying a gift for your sister, or a gift for your nephew, or a gift for your mother. That would be yourself, or it could be an employee. It could be if you work at a company, you may want to access your salary. It could be your uh, a local shop that is selling goods to you via web, or they may have a little app that you can you can use, and so on and so forth. So B2B to C means the technology that connects the information and the trust among the parties, so that the each the business gets validated, the consumer gets validated, and then there's a bank in between, and that provides the vehicle, and then there is a financer that provides the finance.
All right, sir. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. My next question is for you. What is embedded finance and universal finance ecosystem?
Thank you so much again for that question. That just relates to exactly the chart we have put up, right? So the universal platform, if it is cloud based and it could be deployed in any geography, you see the rings that I have on the screen, those represent perhaps geographical boundaries. Think of yourself as you're in Karachi, Pakistan, and let's assume that you are planning to buy something on Amazon. Amazon, good provider, may be sitting in Ohio, and the good provider may be getting supplies from China, right? So the universal ecosystem is trying to create the validity and information and connectivity in a way that that will be able to validate the necessary regulatory and infrastructural need in order to be able to provide point of transaction financing, and then be able to service that financing, meaning that uh, collect and also develop a long-term relationship with all the ends, meaning that it's not a one-time and it doesn't forget you. You're a trusted party. So that's really where that universal ecosystem, which is now available, whereas 3, 4, 5 years ago, that would be the realm of people that are. I mean, that you needed to be a very large corporation to be able to build these connectivities. We find that with the technology advances and be able to put the pieces together, New York Finance can provide that interconnectivity. And that's what we call universal ecosystem, where we could potentially provide ability to an individual in Pakistan or India or in Nigeria or in Nairobi to be able to uh, take a class online and be able to get financing from perhaps a local bank facilitated by a infrastructure that we are able to download into that country. So I don't want to make this concept is instantly exportable, but it is with the pardon me just one second. With the ability to um, we still need to cross boundaries on currencies. We still need to involve local banks and local regulators. Um, and so therefore, there is a time required to deploy in each country, but the time required is far less than it would if you start from scratch. And that's the universal infrastructure that could be adapted and deployed readily in any particular country.
All right, sir, that's really wonderful. Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. My next question is for you. What is the vision of Futurepay and where are you in that regard?
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. Futurepay, as I highlighted, is is a pardon me. Let me just one second. So as we highlighted, Futurepay is a digital revolving credit that is available at the point of transaction on e-commerce. E-commerce being either on the web right now, but ultimately on a web simulator in an app, and it's um, sort of the people are familiar with with the with the concept called buy now pay later. I don't know whether you have that in Pakistan yet. You buy and then you pay on installments.
Yes.
Yes. So this is a bit different. You when you purchase here, you establish a credit limit, and you'll be able to um, buy, pay as you go in like a credit card. So it's a digital revolving credit, and then you can pay down and pay and redraw it again. So Futurepay is implemented in the U.S. now, and it has a vision to be able to provide that. So we already are operating alive with a with a um, what we call a sponsoring bank, and we are connected to certain merchants, and we are growing that. This is referred to as closed loop revolving credit card for the consumer. We're not lending, so it's a merchant friendly, but the credit is applied to the individuals, but we underwrite both the validity of the merchant, as well as, so we already develop a long-term relationship with the merchant and a long-term relationship with the um, consumer. So that creates, a bondage that can be over time developed into multiple ways of servicing the both the merchant as well as the consumer. So we're up and running, and we're looking for partners globally to deploy that elsewhere. So I mentioned partners. Our vision is in other countries, we like to have a local team, local entrepreneurs. Hopefully, when you advance to a level to take on a real entrepreneurial position after college, you'll be able to say, oh, this is something we need in Pakistan. A similar, potential. It could be a large merchant in um, in uh, in Pakistan that says, "Oh, I need to have that. Let's discuss." Or a large bank could say, "This is something that we would like to offer or merchants that are banking with us.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. Now let's move on to the next question. My next question is for you. What are NewOak finance goals of for 2024 and 2025?
Asking that question, New York Finance, as highlighted, has now three components. Uh, all three components are up and running and providing services to clients. And our goal is to now accelerate the growth within the US market and also internationally provide these solutions to other countries. So it's scale up. After you build, you have to scale up. So we're in definitely a scale up mode, and that's where you need the most constant concentration and the most uh, 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 financial efficiency, operational efficiency, and connectivity and client acquisition. So client acquisition is number one. Then that leads to also with growth and a scale up, you need capital. So we are looking uh, for for building out the uh, uh, the the pardon me just one second. I want to uh, building out the financing for our Neuro Finance Inc. To be able to feed our subcomponents being the three elements. That's the number one goal for the next 2 years to achieve a a respectable but measured growth.
Wonderful goal. Thank you so much, sir, for your answer, and thank you so much, sir, for sharing your goal. Now let's move on to the next question. My next question is for you. What is the earned wage access, and how does Orbispay plan to achieve that?
Excellent. Thank you so much again for that question. I will then take advantage of a slide that we already have, how it works, right? So Orbispay is essentially as an app. You can actually take a look at it on Orbispay.me. It is it is a service provided by the employers to their employee as a benefit. So that's the key parameter, and with that, uh, uh, we earned wage access. The way it works is not a loan to the consumer or to the employees. Actually, through the app, the employee can see how many days, how many days they work, and how many days are left to the actual payday, and how much money can they access through the system, which is never the total amount they've earned, but it would be a fraction in order to be able to help them meet the needs of liquidity they may have or emergency during the pay periods. So this way, they they're not borrowing; they're just facilitating to get that amount that they've accumulated at a fixed fee. The fee being something as small as 95 cents through, for example, electronic transfer that is overnight, and a higher number if it is instantaneous. But most of the time we recommend people to at least plan slightly ahead to minimize their cost of using the service. It does not interrupt, and nor does it impact the pay cycle of and liquidity of the employer. So employers should be able to willingly and provide this additional optionality to their employees to be able to access their salary sooner than the actual payday. It's a new
I am
category.
conclude this
It's been
and
around for maybe 7 or 8 years. It used to be accomplished by people going to their uh, human resource or their boss, but that is obviously very demeaning to employees and could lead to other uh, complexities and employers do not want to get involved. We essentially provide not only the software, the service, and the financial liquidity required. Um, I don't know, I think you're somewhat frozen. Not sure. Can you hear me okay? Um, Maybe I'll also discuss Finplus.tech role and Riskai while your connection may be weak. Um, the, uh, the 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 Finplus.tech role is primarily to be able to provide um, pardon me, just 1 second, an infrastructure that allows us to be able to scale up and provide services across our multiple components, and then uh, within that provides the embedded finance features that are required to to operate Orbispay and other tools. It looks like um, uh, I kept on going just to was not sure whether your computer was having problem. I don't know whether that continued.
can you hear me, sir?
I was saying that for a little while you dropped out, and but I kept on going.
All right, sir. So, sir, I am concluding this interview. Can I ask last question?
Please,
Or okay, all right. So, are there any recommendation for young entrepreneur today, or can I remove this is like your
yes, please
screen?
remove the slide, please. Thank you so much. Yes, again, the purpose of me being here was not just presenting; it was to facilitate, maybe hopefully, uh, um, in part, give you a way that and perhaps the a vision of what does it take to be able to take advantage of technology and the new world of opportunities available for creating new ideas and then implementing those. Obviously, as a young entrepreneur, you first need to focus on the foundation required to be able to succeed your vision. And that foundation is number one is education, because education and experience are are um, extremely important in order to have that. And to a young entrepreneur, I I recommend do not close your mind and continuously learn and continuously process information, continuously convert that to you know, absorb data, you know, and by observing, you then process that into a knowledge and a wisdom at some point. The entrepreneurial step comes around when you take that wisdom and convert that to action, and then convert that to the end success, right? So there are two steps. It would be very difficult to skip the very first phase of the entrepreneurial. So patience, resilience are the number one required, because many entrepreneurs fail because they get ahead of themselves, right? That means their tool set, their knowledge, their capabilities don't match the what is required to in fact implement the solution that they like to do that. There are two ways to get there. One is through trial and error, meaning that you do it, you fail, you do it, you fail, you do it, you fail. That is almost a given that will happen for an entrepreneur, but you would like to minimize that pain. And in order to do that, I would focus a lot on taking advantage of knowledge and wisdom that you can now today absorb by effectively interacting, such as yourself. You are already ahead of the curve by having this forum and this conversation. I hope you are internalizing some of this for your future vision, right? And I do, commend Rion School and making that sort of as as not just education in the class, but education out of the classroom, right? So that's that. So do take advantage of people who want to be helpful as mentors. Do take advantage of uh, the energy you have at an earlier stage, and continue feeding on that energy. Produce energy, because the more and lastly, do not get disappointed, because I think it is failure is not because of you. Confidence is very important. That do not attribute failure to yourself. Failure is due to combination of circumstances that are often not in control of a young entrepreneur. You do what you know and what at the time you know it, and with the circumstances that are dished to you at that point. And so don't let that to prevent for taking the next step. The idea is that always reevaluate and always get up and always take the next steps, because that is what makes an entrepreneur alive and growing. So I leave with that: patience, resilience, and a good foundation to start with.
Thank you so much, sir, for your advice. And you know that today is my 400 interview, so it's a
Wow,
pleasure to me you gave me an interview.
that's fabulous. That is a very big number. Good
Thank you so
luck.
much, sir.
Good luck, and I will highly recommend others to participate if you need more.
All right, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for sharing your journey, insights, and vision with us today. It's been truly enlightening conversation, and we gain valuable knowledge about the finance industry and New York finance and your various initiatives. Your dedication to mentorship and philanthropy is truly inspiring. So, thank you so much, sir, once again for joining us today. We wish you continued success in all your future endeavors, and we look forward to witnessing uh, the positive impact of your work and financial world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and very much. Keep on going.
Thank you. Bye. Have a wonderful
Yes.
day ahead.
Bye bye.